ESPN has the Minnesota Vikings going 10-6 for this 2020 season. I think they have them winning or coming second in the division. So I'm going to be saying, are the Vikings going to be exceeding expectations in the 2020 season? And ESPN has them ranked higher than a lot of other teams or a lot of other news sources or whatever. So is the Vikings going to exceed expectations this year? And I'm going to give 4 reasons why or how the Vikings can exceed expectations this year. So let's get into it. Starting off with number one, which held the Vikings back a lot last year. Vikings have a pretty good defense outside of corners. We don't know how the Vikings corners are going to look this year, but their defensive line still is okay. Linebackers, great. Safeties, amazing. So the Vikings have a pretty good defense outside of corners. We don't know exactly what's going to happen with there. But last year, the Vikings did not do good on run stopping, and we need to do a lot better stopping the run, just destroying that run, because the run killed us last year. That's exactly what you did not want to see. So with bringing in Michael Pierce was a great decision over Linval Joseph. I think Michael Pierce is an amazing run stopper, and that's exactly what the Vikings need right now. So bringing him in, trying new starters. We want to see some new starters out there. I want to see what Armon Watts can do. I think he's great against the run. A lot of players the Vikings can use on that defensive line to try to solve for this problem, which really held them back last year. They were great. They did pretty good at getting to the quarterback, but not good at stopping the run. The run killed us. It's the reason why we lost the Kansas City Chiefs game. That was like a 98-yard run they gave up because he just ran right through the line. They just let him through. A lot of games. Stop the run. Against the Packers, too. Aaron Jones was destroying us. We need to stop the run. Now, for number two, another reason the Vikings could or another way the Vikings could improve. Gary Kubiak is now our offensive coordinator, and Gary Kubiak has a lot of talent or a lot of experience under his belt and knows what to do. He is an offensive mastermind. He has a lot of players. The Vikings have a lot of players that Gary Kubiak could use, and I think he will use just about everyone who's wearing a Vikings jersey. And the Vikings have a really good offense, and to have Gary Kubiak designing plays, which he designed plays last year too, but calling plays as well, it's going to be interesting to see how the Vikings offense is going to look. I think the Vikings offense will be a top 5 in the league just because there's a lot of talent. I mean, I know we lost Stephon Diggs, but I think Kirk Cousins, third year, Adam Thielen not being injured, Dalvin Cook will get injured though. I want to see how our run game is going to look without him. I don't know about Alexander Madison. I'm not as high on Alexander Madison as a lot of people. I did give him Rookie of the Year because he surprised me last year. I just don't know how he's going to look covering in for Diggs this year, or for Dalvin Cook this year, but I'm excited to see what Mike Boone can do. And CJ Ham, I don't know if they want to use him as a running back, but I'm excited to see what Mike Boone can do. Alexander Madison, I hope he can prove me wrong. But outside of that, the Vikings offense is great. Tight end group, amazing. Wide receiver, still have great wide receivers. I mean, bringing in Tajay Sharp, drafting Justin Jefferson was great decisions. Still having Adam Thielen there as your number one receiver, of course. There's a lot of talent on the Vikings offensive line that I think Gary Kubiak will play design for, and he brought in Justin Jefferson for a reason. He was the guy who wanted to bring in Justin Jefferson. He wanted to trade up for them above the Philadelphia Eagles, and I think they just wanted to trade above the Philadelphia Eagles, who ended up drafting just Jalen Reagor, which was kind of a surprise because not really, because they do need someone who's going to be like the next man up or whatever. So, and I don't know if Justin Jefferson is really that guy. I feel like Justin Jefferson is a good 2 receiver. I don't know if he'll ever be a number 1 receiver, but we'll see what he can do. And then this leads me into my third thing, which is the offensive line is elite. This is a really good offense, or the offense is elite, not the offensive line. The offensive line is okay. I mean, outside of the left side of the offensive line, we really struggle. I talked about this already if you would like to check that out. So the offensive line is definitely improved from, I think, the last 2 seasons, just because these players have one more year under their belt. They've been playing more. I feel like a lot of them are young and they've been developing. So I think the Vikings have to bring in a new, like, older guy in free agency, left guard. Anyways, I think that the Vikings offensive line has improved from the last couple seasons, which held the Vikings back. I think playmakers, I think they might have, even without Stephon Diggs, I think they still have just as good amount of playmakers as they did last year, because I think Justin Jefferson, Tajay Sharp will fill in for that. I think Irv Smith being in his second year, it's going to look a lot better. They ran a lot of 2 tight end sets last year, most in the NFL, and I think this offense is elite, which is why I think the Vikings are going to be a top 5 offense in the league, even without Stephon Diggs, which a lot of people would disagree with. And then for the fourth and final reason, and this has to be the biggest reason because the quarterback is the biggest position. Kirk Cousins, third year with the Minnesota Vikings, is going to be looking a lot better than his last 2 years. I can already prove that as long as he doesn't get injured. I think Kirk Cousins is going to be running the ball a bit more than he did the last couple of years. I would blame it on the defense if the Vikings have an awful season. I would. I don't know how the Vikings defense is going to look. The offense, as long as a lot of players stay healthy, which Dalvin Cook gets injured about every season. So I don't know. Maybe if he gets injured, the Vikings haven't been looking as good as they did last season. But that's because they were a run-heavy team. I think the Vikings are going to be a more pass-heavy team this year. Still used. Obviously, they're going to run the ball a lot. I think the play-action pass was great. Or the play-action pass destroyed the teams last year because they always thought they were running with the ball. So the Vikings are still going to run the ball a lot. I think they're going to be more of a pass-heavy team this year just because Gary Kubiak is that kind of guy, and Dalvin Cook gets injured a lot, so they're probably going to have to. And there's a lot of players to throw to, so you can play design for just about everyone. So I think Kirk Cousins is going to be a great third-year quarterback. He's going to be looking a lot better than he did the last 2 seasons. So let me know what you think. Are the Vikings going to exceed expectations this year? Are they going to not live up to it? ESPN had them going 10-6, better than a lot of places. I saw CBS didn't. It's too early too. I mean, to make predictions. We don't even know the active roster, what the active roster is going to look like for the Vikings. So it's too early to make predictions, but we all like making predictions anyways. So I'll be definitely doing updated videos on this when the 52-man roster is out, when the Vikings, after the third wave of free agency happens. So it's going to be interesting. After preseason too, because preseason really shows players, like these backup players' potentials.